Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. My buddy Perry's with me, Mr. Yonex himself, the specialist, the master, the brains. Maybe you should run Yonex. Stay tuned. Hey guys, are you learning or are you trying to improve your tennis? Are you taking a 1 hour lesson a week or possibly 2 1-hour lessons a week? But are you playing in between? If you're like me and I tried to learn to play the drums, in a 6-month period, I played the drums 30 minutes every week, only during the lessons. So if you want to accelerate your progress in tennis, get a fast track. Because if you're not practicing in between and you don't have a game, at least you can hit 1,000 forehands and 1,000 backhands. That's what the fast track does. It gets your game going. It gets your muscles memorized. So guys, get your game on the fast track and accelerate the progress that you get from your lessons. Click on the link below and get your tennis on the fast track. All right, so I got Perry with me today and we are talking Regnas. So the original plan for this video was we were gonna do Regna Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3 in the 98, but unfortunately we had 2 Gen 3s and 1 Gen 1, because I thought, and so did Perry, we thought I had a Gen 2, but I think I bought it right when Gen 3 came out. So, but I've never tried Gen 1 before, and...
Well, let's have a look.
And let's, yeah, this is what Gen 1 looks like. It's much more colorful than Gen 3. And you were saying that Gen 2 is green?
Well, so you happen to have a Regna 100 in the Generation 2.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see in the lettering here where it says Regna,
Mm-hmm.
it's a slight greenish color. And same thing with the
Oh,
insignia.
yeah, it's a tint. It's like glow in the dark.
Yeah. So it changes colors a little bit as you reflect it in the light, but it is a greenish tint, and you can see the marbling a little more. It's more prominent in the 2.
Oh, okay.
Whereas the 3, it's
This is a 3 though, right?
This is the 2.
This is a 2 and 100?
Uh-huh.
Oh, no
That's
way.
version 2.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a 2 in the house, and it is, but it's 100. Okay.
And this is version 3, which is the current version.
Right.
So as you can see, the marbling is not quite as pronounced, but it's there.
Yeah.
And the lettering is more of that silver. So it's almost impossible to see where it says Regna here on this side.
Oh, that's true.
But the crest is a goldish color.
Yes. Right
Yeah.
there. All right.
Regal in look, and yeah.
Okay, so is it Regna or Reina?
I think you can pronounce it either way, but I believe it's actually Regna.
Okay.
As in the reign of a
Got it.
the
Got
dynasty or of a
That's
kingdom.
what we were calling it before, and then everybody started saying Regna, so I was like saying Regna, but
Tomato, tomato.
yeah, Reina sounds more, sexy.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I think the Latin terminology is actually Regna.
All right.
Yes.
So let's go hit with these and see if there's differences. Stay tuned.
Nice shot, Harry.
All right, so we're back Okay, now I felt a slight difference from 1 to the 3 and the 98. I felt like the 1 was a little clunkier. I don't know, there's a slight delay in it when it comes through. Whereas the 3 was smoother.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
I would agree to some extent. I think the main difference is there's a couple, but the one that stands out for me is that the first iteration does not have the NAMD technology, which is the, what is it, nanoparticle something or other.
That's all right. We figured that out.
Yes. But it's basically Yonex's nanotech.
Is it a skin? It's a skin. Right?
So they're actually nanoparticles that are laid into the layers of graphite as a binding agent. So what it does is it fortifies the graphite to give it a little more energy return. So when it flexes, you get better return as it flexes back to its original shape. It absorbs some vibration as well, and a touch more pop. So yeah, I think those are the key differences with this NAMD technology versus the non.
That's smoother though. When it comes through, it's like there's a skin on it, like a shark, like going for its prey. It's like like
so
that.
It has it cuts through the air a little easier.
Whereas this is not as like aerodynamic. Maybe the word is better. Yeah.
The molds look near identical to me.
But I don't know what it is about it. And you said the numbers were like almost the same.
Yeah, near identical in terms of weight. So strung weight for both of these were in 335 gram. I know the literature says it should be closer to 325, 328, but again, dependent on string. This does have an overgrip. Yep, that does add, so that makes sense. Balance is, near identical as well. Another key difference is the string, the hole offsets, or the drill pattern. So version 1, conventional, same distance from top to bottom. On the 3, it actually flanges outward by 1 millimeter. So it goes from slightly tighter to just a hair wider at the bottom half of the hoop.
Interesting.
So it shifts the sweet spot just slightly south of center, which is kind of counterintuitive for a Yonex racket.
Very. And then I'm also noticing the big grommets here and here, whereas this isn't bigger.
Right. Yeah. So I think to allow for a little more string movement, a little more snapback to enhance that. Though it wasn't mentioned on the Japanese site about the grommet change, I could see where that would be advantageous. Yeah,
but that still hammers it. This semi-hammers the ball.
Oh,
on impact.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit, like if you're used to the version 2 or version 3, which are basically the same, just a different paint job, and then you go to the one's a little bit more raw. Yeah, it's almost like, it's a Regna, that's for sure, but it takes a little bit of just kind of recalibrating to find where it likes certain contact points.
Right, that one, like my first hit, I was like, yep, it's a Regna, goes through.
Yes.
This one, it's like, oh. I had second thought. I was like, oh, it's a different Regna, or it's a different
manual transmission, automatic.
Yeah. or like a 6-speed manual, 5-speed manual. You got to switch gears a little faster on this.
Yeah, it just comes around. Yeah, and you get a little more energy return.
Right.
Just because of the NAMD technology, but it's still that same micro high grade graphite that they use for both. Just a little smoother, like you said, a little smoother, just a hair more pop, I'd say, but if you blind tested me somehow and I was able to hit with both, it'd be hard pressed to.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the 100 a little bit.
Yeah.
This is the 100.
That is the 100.
So I came in kind of bad mouthing the 100, saying, it's like, he's like, it's a Regna and it's still good. And I actually yelled across the court. I was like, would you pay $400 for that?
Well,
he stalled.
Well, I think anybody would stall for $400. But I was, this is my first time to really hit with the 100 Regna. I'd hit briefly with it a couple years back, but literally it was like 2 balls. This time I got to lean into it a little bit more, and I'm like, for something that's that headlight, that for me, I like more weight in the racket, but I thought it hit really nice, very crisp, very predictable. I felt like I could go after the ball. Yeah, and I had good depth control, good spin. A little more user-friendly than the 98, obviously, but could use some weight.
So after you said it was good, I decided to hit with it myself. And I was a little surprised, maybe because I'm getting older and I've taken a lot of lead off of my rackets. And this doesn't feel like a feather anymore to me. So therefore, I actually got some good swings with it, and it didn't feel as bad as it did when I hit with this like years ago. I mean, it's been in storage for years. I haven't hit it, so because I was just in my mind, I was like, eh.
I think you need to revisit it a little bit, maybe tinker with the weight and balance, but it's still a Regna. I mean, it's a wonderful racket. I mean, the paint job's beautiful on that. I love that version too, for that little hints of green in it and the marbling and yeah. I mean, I would not discount it quite as quickly.
Right. No. But
to your point,
yeah.
If I'm dropping $400, it better be the best playing racket I've ever hit with.
Yeah, which the 98 is.
Pretty darn much so, yes.
And you're the one that put into my head last week that there's a Regna 4 coming out?
Possibly. I mean, it's due for a cycle.
It's been like 4 years.
Yeah, because the version 3, was it 2022?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so now, so we're in year 3. I would expect to maybe hear some grumblings, hopefully sometime this year.
Yeah.
Dwelly, if you're watching, I'll be waiting for your text.
Dwelly, if you're listening and watching, I would like a 4. A 4. Regna 4, 98, not 100.
Count me in on that as well. I know we'll talk later.
Send 2, okay?
At least.
Make sure they're specced out, too.
Shout out to David Dwelly over at Yonex.
Yeah, thank you. Send us stuff and we'll thank you more. Ferry, thank you so much for
my pleasure.
Yeah, being with me today and talking about the Regnas. I'm going to call them Regnas from now on. And so we're actually going to go visit you probably one of these days when the shop reopens.
So
we're gonna surprise you guys though as to
okay.
We don't know. I'm sure you guys don't know about what's going on over at Sweatka's, but you'll know soon enough. It's been really, really quiet over there, let's just say.
Eerily quiet.
So don't go and see them now, but we'll tell you when. All right? Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.